I'm sorry, I'm kind of tired. I can't do this. I quit. Those are three very powerful words when you give power to them. It was 6:30 p.m. on a November night in Saskatoon. This night I've been preparing relentlessly for years. This was my brown belt test with a school here in Saskatoon called the Valoria Martial Arts Academy. The style is called Aguila, which translates to eagle. I've been preparing years and years for this since I was 8 years old, and this was my time. My teacher, my uncle, we call him Kuya Ray. In Tagalog, Kuya means older brother. It's equivalent to sensei in other forms. So Kuya Ray has trained hundreds of people over the years, and he wouldn't train and test somebody if they weren't ready. So this was my time, whether I felt like I was ready or not. I arrived early to prepare, to stretch, get ready into the mode, into the zone. And I was extremely nervous and anxious. As I sat there, black belt after black belt entered the room, even a couple brown belts as well. I'm the only green belt in the room. Finally, 7 o'clock hits, Kuya calls the class, we line up. I bow to Kuya and the other Kuyas, and the class begins. It lasts about 2.5 hours. First up is basics, and basics in our exams isn't just, when you're at this level, isn't just a single punch or kick. It's a series of complicated combinations. So multiple kicks with one leg, spinning techniques, and aerials. The counts are really quick, and they don't give you any time to prepare beforehand. They'll give you a random combination, and you can't even motion it out. You have to just see it in your mind and go. At the end of basics, it was about the equivalent of about 40 minutes of sprinting. That's what it felt like. Second up is forms. Forms are sets of combinations that are predetermined, and all the forms that I knew at that time, everybody else in the room knew as well. I've practiced them hundreds of times in preparation for this, so I know them inside and out. Before each form or performance, you have to do 50 knuckle push-ups on the hardwood floor. These are mandatory. If you mess up, make a mistake, have lack of power, lack of speed, lack of technique, more push-ups. I do about 4 forms and 1 weapons form. And at the end of that, I ended up not getting any optional push-ups. Next up is sparring. And at this point, I've given it my all. I'm almost completely out of energy. I'm exhausted. They call up one of the brown belts, take fighting position, and then we go. I win the first fight. Second fight, and again, another brown belt. Some of these fights can last up to 5 minutes, depending on who you're fighting and how quickly you can get to 5 points. I win the second fight. Now they bring out the black belts. I fight the first black belt. This one goes the whole distance. We go down to 1 point, and I end up winning that fight as well. And I'm bent over. I'm extremely exhausted. I'm thinking in my head that I'm tired. There's no way I can go further. They bring out another black belt. I'm to fight them one-on-one again. They take their fighting positions. I'm bent over. I take a deep breath. They say fight. I stand straight up. And suddenly I have a burst of energy. I don't know where it came from. Next up, we have what I thought was over. However, they bring in another black belt. So now it's 2 versus 1. And at this point, I have no idea what I'm going to do. I feel like I'm not prepared for this. I feel like maybe I can't do it. And maybe it's time that I should quit. My mind's telling me I have no more energy. It's time to take a rest. But again, I'm bent over, take a deep breath, fight. All of a sudden, I forget about it all. I keep them in a line as best as I can, and I try not to get them on the side of me. You score on one of them, they're out, and then you score on the last one, one-on-one. All right, this has to be it, right? That's what I'm thinking. Then they bring out a third black belt, so now it's 3-on-1. That fight goes through. I get hit a lot, and I end up eliminating all 3 of them eventually. Now, just when I thought I could finally rest and take a break, I'm bent over. They call out more black belts, all of the black belts, in fact. And the whole time, the lights have been on. There's 5 black belts that I'm to fight, and then they turn the lights off. So I'm extremely scared now. I'm to fight 5 black belts in the dark. There's a tiny bit of moonlight coming in through the window, and that's it. But I realize that if I can't see them, they can't see me. Perfect, let's use that to my advantage. Fight's called, go. I get hit by 3 sides at once. I move around. I try to keep them all in front of me, not surrounding me, move them in front of the window so at least I can kind of get a sense as to where they are. And I end up getting them to hit each other, which was pretty cool. And that whole fight lasts a long, long 5 minutes. Probably one of the longest 5 minutes of my life. At the end of it, I have no more energy. I couldn't believe I made it to that point. They call the line again. They ask me to leave the room. So now there's 10 minutes of me just waiting for their evaluation. They create some drama. They make me just sit there and think about every possible wrong thing that I did. And when I come out there, they ask me, what was your mistake? I think it was a trick question. I said I didn't make a mistake. I didn't get push-ups, so I think I didn't make a mistake. They asked me to step forward and take off my belt. They all have a really disappointed look on their face. They ask me, is there anything I would have changed and done differently? Well, I got my brown belt that day. And I realized and learned a valuable lesson. Something that really ingrained in you from the start. As soon as you're a white belt, you get push-ups every time you say can't, quit, or tired. There's a lot of times I felt like I had to quit. My body was telling me that's it. I ignored it. I told myself, there is no quit. Quit doesn't exist. Can't. As soon as there was multiple black belts, that's exactly what ran through my mind. But I told myself, I can do it. There is no can't. And tired. Yeah, I felt tired. They asked me if I felt tired. I told them no, which I think helped to instill that in my mind. So when I actually went up, my body believed my mind, and all of a sudden I had energy. So I've applied all of these words and these teachings from martial arts to the rest of the areas of my life. I realized that there is no can't, there is no quit, and there is no tired. They don't exist. They are figments of your imagination. And if you give them power, that is the only thing that will stop you from achieving your dreams. So, Please take that. There is no can't. There is no quit. There is no tired. And realize they only exist in your imagination. They aren't real. And if you can believe that, then you can elevate your life to heights that only existed in your mind. Thank you.